Most people would agree that a child, a 3 or 4-year-old, shouldn't be blamed for what their parents decided to do.
هذه أمها جابتها 15 يوم عمرها وتوفت وفاة.
They also don't have access to healthcare. They don't have access to welfare. وعمرك؟ 6 سنين. أنتِ بالمدرسة؟ لا. ليش لا؟ The idea that a family should be tainted by association is so fundamentally unfair, and that if we allow for that kind of thinking, then where does that end? My job with Human Rights Watch in Iraq is to go into the field. So when we write about abuses, we have that direct first-hand testimony. Okay, well, that guy saw us. Is he looking at us? In a country like Iraq, as you can imagine, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of human rights issues. If I work on this issue right now, is there a chance that we can bring about change? Is there a chance that we can stop the abuses from happening? I'm entering a camp south of Mosul that's holding hundreds of families. Some of these families are accused of having links to ISIS. They're accused of this because they have fathers or brothers or sons who are said to have joined the group. In many ways, camps like this represent a mass exercise of collective punishment against these families. This is illegal under international law, and this could represent a war crime. These families lost their documents when they were fleeing fighting. Sometimes ISIS took their documents, sometimes Iraqi security forces took their documents, and they ended up with absolutely nothing proving their identity. Now, as they try to get their documents back, when they go to governmental offices, they're told, your father was ISIS, you are ISIS, you do not deserve your documents, we will not give them to you.
ما نطلع بزمن داعش، أطفال دواعش ما نطلع لهم هسه.
مين قالوا لك هيك؟
والله ما أعرف، هذا قرار الحكومة، يعني هذا بس أطفالي، أطفال كثيرة ما أعرف.
Because of the missing documentation, they're really completely cut off from society. They're further and further marginalized, and that in and of itself, I think, is doing real damage to the fabric of Iraqi society, in the context that these women, of course, have children and are raising children in a growing atmosphere of anger and resentment for the fact that they're being punished, not for anything they did, but what their loved ones, their husbands, their sons might have done.
وانتي راح ترجعي للقرية ولا تضلي بالمخيم؟
تعجبون قاموا، هذا ما شايفينه كانوا بحصار وكانوا ودي وطلعوا قبل على المخيم. يعني تجي طعمة من الجيران دول ما هم يتكاونون عليها. يعني شي التحرين منهم بعدين دول إذا ضلوا بالمخيم وتشدروا.
She has 2 sons who she said joined ISIS and later died. Now she is raising her son's children and other children that were left in her care. Right now she has 9 children she's taking care of, and she's taking care of them all alone in this camp.
توبوا من الفعودي ما جبت معاي له كل شيء. رجعت بطرق الولد والبنية ذي. عوائل ودعتها وجيت. كلها راحت جوان قرار. هذول يعني هستعين هذول كلهم عندي يعني. هم وابني طلع راح يجيب علاج. عندي هذه مريضة. مرض مزمن بها حساسية الحنطة. والله من صارت الأحداث وذي ما وصلت الطبيب. ما أقدر أوديها على طبيب خارج، لا عندي مستمسك، لا عندي فلوس، لا عندي شيء. يعني يصغر جسمي هجر شوي ورا شوي. هاي عمره 10 سنين. ما عندي لا معين ولا عندي أحد.
The minute that I leave that tent, and I'm leaving this person to their thoughts, having just dredged up old and painful memories, is something that causes me a lot of concern. There are many sort of very difficult stories that I've heard and had to process. The upbringing that I had really helped me to deal with some of the stuff that I see in my work. I had the benefit of growing up in Switzerland, a very safe country, a country where I had access to education and a very stable environment. Coming out of that, what I felt very acutely, and I already felt this in sort of my early teens, was that because I was given all of that, I really do have an obligation to use what was given to me to help those who don't have the same opportunities.
أطفال بدون استمساكات شو المستقبل تبعهم؟
والله ما أعرف شنو المستقبل. أنا عارفة المستقبل شنو.
وشو راح يكون المستقبل تبعك والعائلة؟
والله عليك يا الله.
I do really worry about the kids in these families in particular and the extent to which that they're going to become radicalized. ISIS, which continues to be a concern in Iraq and isn't gone, is going to take that opportunity to target these children and to recruit them. I really fear that you're just going to see the next wave in Iraq of radicalization. I think most sensible people would agree that keeping that child out of school is not only unfair, but it's actually dangerous to the country. It's dangerous to have thousands, perhaps tens or hundreds of thousands of kids kicked out of the education system, prevented from getting things like access to healthcare, access to welfare. That is going to damage the fabric of Iraqi society.
مستقبل يعني صفر. يعني مستقبل تعبان بالمخيم ميؤوس منه، يعني ما إنه مستقبل بالمخيم.
What we want is for these families to be able to go home, for their kids to grow up at home. But at least this would be in a limited way, a certain measure of success, that these kids would be in school.
I say to families, the problems that you're facing right now, I can't fix them. All I can do is promise that I will share with the world the words that you gave me.
The work that we do can fundamentally bring about change. We are able to use stories that people give us, give them a platform, an ability to speak very directly to a global community. That ultimately is what brings about change.